Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is a paid request for Jonathan. Thank you so much for that, for your generosity. I really appreciate it. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, whether it be a topic, reaction, commentary, review, re-review, thought streams, commentaries, feel free to send it. I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. For those who sent them, thank you. I really do appreciate it. And this is for the 2000... Was it really that long ago? It's crazy. Like 2014. That still is weird that this film is over 10 years old. Just it still feels like a newer film. Like it feels like a film that only came out a few years ago. But yeah, 2014. Starring Jake Gyllenhaal, who I do like as an actor. Now I did not like him in Roadhouse remake, but I liked him in Guy Ritchie's The Covenant, Donnie Darko, and in films like this. I think he does a good job in this. You also have Rene Russo in the film. Always been a fan of her since I first saw her in Lethal Weapon 3. She was also in Free Jack. She was in Outbreak. Always liked her as an actress. She plays a news manager. You got Bill Paxton. May he rest in peace. He plays another freelance photographer. And this is directed by Dan Gilroy. Now, Dan Gilroy, what's funny about that, I mentioned Free Jack. He was one of the writers for Free Jack. Now, Free Jack is a film that I liked from back to the days. Not a classic. Has its flaws, but I like Free Jack. Emilio Estevez, Anthony Hopkins, Mick Jagger. I liked it for what it is. I don't think I ever picked up the Blu-ray. I don't know why I never did, but the reason I say that's funny because, like I said, they had Rene Russo. Dan Gilroy is married to Rene Russo. So I guess what happened was, as he was one of the writers of Free Jack, he met Rene Russo because of Free Jack. They got married soon after, and I guess they've been married ever since. So this is the first film he got to direct. So I just, hey, I'll put my wife in it. Which, I mean, you say there's nepotism, but Rene Russo is a good actress. She does a good job and fits here. It's not like Paul W. Sanderson and Mila Jovovich. At least Rene Russo's a good actress. Now, the film, it's a thriller. It's little bits of dark comedy. There's some pretty screwed up things in the film too. But this is one of those films that when I heard about it, I wasn't sure. But when I first saw it, I was pleasantly surprised. And watch it again, I still think it holds up fairly well. Jake Gyllenhaal is this guy named Lou, who is a thief, who comes off as a guy who seems well educated, seems like he's very talkative, and he's trying to be very, how do I want to put it, try to break things down in a succinct manner to someone as if he really knows what he's talking about. He's very manipulative in how he talks. Like, this, we're going to do this, we're going to do, like, he's very step-by-step process of how he speaks to people. Just to be honest, he sees people the way I took it. He doesn't see people as people. He sees them as either an opportunity or an obstacle that's in his way, and he has to sweet talk them and talk in this certain fashion to get what he wants. Like, he's a very manipulative person. Even when he's talking to this guard at the beginning, when he's stealing stuff, and he acts very nice, and, oh, here, officer, then he beats the hell out of him in order to steal all this shit. Steals the guy's watch as well. So he tries to sell it at the scrapyard, which I recognize the scrapyard boss. I'm like, this guy looks so familiar. It's Marco Rodriguez. You're like, who's that? He was the supermarket killer at the beginning of Cobra with Sylvester Stallone. I didn't realize that the first time I saw him. I went, oh, it's you. Okay, cool. He's still working. At least by this point. So he doesn't need a whole lot of money. He doesn't get a job. Just as the guy says, why would I hire a thief? So one thing leads to another. He's driving home. He sees an accident. He stops by, looks, and there's people like Bill Paxton taking pictures and getting these grisly shots of cops pulling a woman out of a car from a car accident. And he realizes how these people work. They have a scanner. They have their camcorder, their video camera equipment, and they search for accidents, violent crimes, get to the scene, film what they want, get to whatever news facility you want to go to, and bargain out a price, which he starts doing. He steals a bike, sells it, gets a scanner, gets a camcorder, films some stuff, some failures, 5 or 6 seasons of filming stuff, gets to a news director, Rene Russo. Able to talk his way into getting like some kind of a payment. He acts very nice and courteous, but you tell it's a bit of a facade as well. Eventually hires this guy for like $30 a night to drive for him, or to not drive, but to tell him where to go and help him out on stuff. And then throughout the film, it's this series of events where he's just getting more and more into these crime scenes, being more and more part of the action, and you just see how just morally bankrupt this guy is. Completely morally bankrupt. Even the guy he hired, Rick, pretty much tells him how you don't understand people. And Jake Gyllenhaal's answer is, well, maybe it's not that I don't understand people. Maybe just I don't like them. And if it jeopardizes his way of getting success, he will get you out of the way, however he can. And I thought that the way the film was shot had a nice moody atmosphere for LA, where it just felt dark and dangerous. And I was just kind of entranced in this guy's kind of morally bankrupt aptitude and his ladder of success. Doing whatever he can. There's a crime scene. He sneaks through to his open door, and then there's a fridge with bullet holes, and he moves the picture to get a better shot. Or how he manipulates Rene Russo to get what he wants, and using blackmail, or using, if not blackmail, but listen, I know what you want, and I know you need it from me, so you do this, or you don't get this. And also supposed to be showcasing the way a lot of news programs, as Bill Paxton says at one point, if it bleeds, it leads. Which that's a common term I've heard in a lot of stuff. If it bleeds, it leads. Which is true. How many times that's why you stop watching the news. When it's stuff that's just very either heartbreaking, tragic, violent, it gets people tuned in the most. I mean, recently with the accidents, 2 plane accidents. One where a chopper, like an army chopper, whatever, hit an airline plane, and then one was like a medical plane crashing, like 2 in a matter of days. People honed in on that. The idea if there's something violent, or the sensationalization of it. And, why do people hone in on it so much so that it seems like that's what media, that's what these companies, these news outlets seem like they have to feed that jugular more and more so to get viewership up. That's where you see Rene Russo doing. Oh my, wow, this looks so good. How much you want? And we'll do her whatever she wants to keep her job, which is to get the views up, which is to get this rough and rougher and roughest type of footage. And Jake Gyllenhaal, I liked the way he played the character. He has a certain way with words where he's trying to not really condescend, but like try to get in people's good graces. Like Rene Russo says something, he's like, "Oh, you didn't soften the truth and you didn't dilute it. I respect that." Or, "Hey, if you want to win the lottery, you gotta make the money to buy a ticket." Or, "I can't jeopardize my company's sources or my company's success, which is untrustworthy people like you." Oh, that fear stands for false evidence appearing real. I don't know, just something about it kept at a good enough pace that I was never bored with it. I didn't feel like it was going into too many random subplots. It kind of just kept with this momentum of this guy doing what he can to get his success, where he wants to be accepted and he wants people to know who he is and he wants this bit of respect, and how he worms his way into all this to sati- satiate a client, Rene Russo's at her company, that seemed to need to feed the machine all these vile images and news programs to keep people's attention. Bill Paxton, I wish he was in it more. That's one of the few nitpicks I have. When he's there, it's good. It's like Jake Gyllenhaal first sees him, he gets the idea. One point he's at a crime scene when he's getting more success, and Bill Paxton gets there late. Then he says, "Hey, why don't you join me? You could be in the second van." And Jake pretty much tells him to piss off. Then Bill, he gets to a story first, which Jake gets pissed off about that. So then Jake screws up his van, and the next time you see him, Bill Paxton's character, they never say he got killed. They just said he was injured. And he's carried over, and Jake Gyllenhaal's filming the whole thing. So technically, Bill Paxton's character didn't die. But that's what I mean. Like, I just wish he was in it more. I wish he was featured in more. I don't know how, but oh, maybe he's like, okay, he's a guy that's been doing this for years, and yeah, he's a bit slimy. Yeah, he's a bit unethical. But maybe he's a guy who's seen that this guy's even more immoral than him, even more nasty than him. That even Bill Paxton's character has a line that he won't cross. And that'd be kind of this interesting bit where they're both doing bad things, but one's not as bad as the other, and it's kind of back and forth struggle where, or like who's going to cross the further line more if you want to go in that direction instead. I just try to find reasons to get Bill, because I love Bill Paxton. I miss Bill Paxton. I do. I remember when I looked up, it might have been on my phone, and he passed away. I went, oh, I was depressed for the whole day because I'm like, man, because he was just, to me, he was too young. He had a lot more to do. You never heard a bad word about him. When you saw interviews and Q&As, he always seemed like a nice guy. He was such a talented motherfucker with aliens, true lies, near dark, weird science. Even, films like this and Edge of Tomorrow. He was so talented. I know he was just getting started with a TV show. I think it was Training Day. Which, who knows? He might still be doing that show today. Who knows? I don't know how that show was doing. Oh, like that show True Detective? That would have been cool to see him on that, True Detective. Him and, I don't know, him and someone else. Like, that would have been cool. I could see him on that. God, now I'm trying to think. Like him and James Woods. That would have been so cool. Like him and James Woods. Something like that on True Detective, that would have been cool. Something like that. I'm just spitballing here. But man, or him and Dennis Quaid or something. I mean, that'd be cool. But yeah, it's always nice to see him in there, and I just always want to see more of Bill. So anyway, sorry about that. Just thinking a bit too much on that. I just miss that guy, man. I really do. Which I say, I mean, Aliens is my favorite film of all time, and he's a great part of that. Why did you put her? Why did you put her in charge? 17 days. We don't last 17 hours. It's game over, man. Game over. What the fuck we gonna do now? What we gonna do? Yeah, Bishop should go. Anyway, getting back to the film. But it's still great to see Bill in there. I think Rene Russo does a good job. It's a pretty decent dissertation about how bloody hungry media is for more violent news stories. But more so about just corrupt, immoral guy just did what he wants because he's able to go for it. He's able to film what he wants filmed. And he crosses the line. They did more in the spoilers. At one point, he moves a body at an accident scene to get a better shot, or he films a home invasion and films the bad guys, but he edits that footage out and shows the rest, because then he looks up the bad guys, finds out where they are, follows them, makes a phone call, so to create footage and create this excursion to get the footage and become more popular. Even his assistant, Rick, is like, what the hell? But then he's like, hey, well, give me more money. So it's not too much of a moral high ground. It's just, okay, give me money or give me half. If you don't, I want to tell the cops. Which I'm like, I don't know. If you see how this guy acts and how this guy reacts to things, I don't know if you really want to blackmail this guy, so you kind of know where this is going. I mean, it's not an action film. The only bits of action is in that third act. There's a little bit of a shootout that they're filming, and then there's a car chase that Jake and the guy who plays Rick, they're following, and there's a little bit of car crashes, car pile up, and then again, spoilers, he's able to manipulate the guy Rick to get shot by one of the bad guys. And then he's filming everything, films him, and says, hey, I can't jeopardize my company's success or opportunity because someone untrustworthy like you. Because you blackmailed me once, that means you could do it again. He's like, I don't know if I would. I do. And just like a clear case of sociopath. He just has no regret, no remorse. And I mean, maybe for some people that would seem a bit kind of, for some it may seem a bit one-dimensional. Just not like a guy who works his way up to being desensitized and becoming a monster. This is a guy that pretty much from the beginning is a monster, and just succeeds. But at the same time, there's plenty of other films that, Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer or American Psycho, that have done that and worked well too. So I think I like the film because I like the subject matter of the freelance photographers, where a lot of times I feel is a bit scummy, like you're filming up close with all these dead bodies, and it's like the family members, how would they feel about their family members being filmed like this, and for ratings and success of the news, and like, do we really want to see this violence? Do we really want to see these gory details? I sure as fuck don't, because I never watch that stuff. I never do. Again, that's why I have to maybe read news real quick and then pass, but I don't watch the news because of that. because it's always depressing as fuck too. So I think it has a good performance by Jake Gyllenhaal. I think it's shot with a nice, moody feel. For the most part, the movie's it's mostly nighttime. Now I think about it, because when they go out is at night. Because they don't really take any pictures during the day. There's not really any accidents, crimes as they do during the day. Which I wonder if there's a reason. I guess because maybe the director felt, nighttime would give it much more of that gritty, that maybe creepier mood concerning the terrible things the lead guy's doing. And I mean, there's not a whole lot of films about freelance photographers that do this kind of thing and following crime scenes and stuff. There may have been films that have done it, but I can't think of a whole lot at the top of my head. To a point I'm kind of surprised it wasn't done even sooner. So it has a good cast. I think it's Riz Ahmed who plays Rick. I mentioned Rene Russo. Like, they all did a good job. Rest in peace to Bill Paxton. And overall, yeah, I thought it was a pretty decent film. Always, I mean, it's my second time watching it, but I still liked it. I still thought it held up fairly well. So, there you go. So that's another movie I liked, even though people say I hate everything. Except for the many movies I do like this one. But, nah, we'll forget about that specific memory selected memory loss. That's what I'm getting at. But oh well, it is what it is. If I liked it, I liked it. And this one I like. So thanks for watching. Take care. And we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.